Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, there were committee amendments, and I move adoption of the committee report.
You've heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Committee report is added. Representative, you may continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Concurrent Resolution 5008 is a resolution applying to Congress of the United States to call a convention of the states for the purpose of proposing amendments to the Constitution of the United States that impose fiscal restraints on the federal government, limits the power and jurisdiction of the federal government, and limits the terms of officials and federal government and members of Congress. There were 15 proponents in the Fed and State Committee. There were 3 opponents, and there was no neutral testimony. There were it was reported that over 41,000 Kansans have signed a petition in favor of a convention of states. Now, before I get too far into this, I would like to ask you to indulge me for just a moment. I would kindly ask you to get paper and pen out and write down a number if you would, please. And the number I'd like you to write down is 31,630,226,438.72. That number is the approximate current national debt. And I get that from the national debt clock. It's a number that's hard to give you exactly because it is constantly going up. Our federal Constitution was written with means to amend the Constitution. To date, there have been 27 amendments, including one that repealed a prior amendment. Each of these amendments had to be ratified by 3/4 of the states at the time, and each was ratified on the basis that each state gets 1 vote. But before amendments can be ratified and added to the Constitution, they must be initiated or proposed. The Constitution provides for 2 methods for amending our United States Constitution. One of those methods is the method that has been used on the previous 27 amendments. That's where Congress proposes the amendments, they pass out of both houses of the chamber, and they get approved by or not by the various state legislatures. The other method is that when 2/3 of the state request it, the Congress is required to hold what's commonly known as a convention of the states or an Article 5 convention for the purpose of proposing amendments to the Constitution. The federal government is operating at a level of power and control over our individual lives that has never been seen before. It is time to exercise the authority given us in Article 5 of the Constitution to put a check on that power. Risk is involved, and risk of doing nothing and not passing this resolution is just as high or higher than passing it. Opponents say that this is a foreign process with unknowable results, but the facts of history tell a much different story. First of all, it is in plain language of the Constitution and has been used to get us several of our existing amendments. While it's true that a full convention is not yet met, past efforts have caused Congress to initiate the desired action for amendments 1 through 10, as well as the 18th, 20th, and 27th amendments. In fact, Kansas still has open resolutions for 2 possible callings of conventions of states, one from 1951 calling for changes to federal taxing authority, and another from 1978 for a balanced budget amendment. Friends, the time has come to call a convention of states.